Absolutely. Well, something I touched upon last night when you were there was that sometimes I think church acts like the musicals during the Depression in America. Musicals became incredibly popular. People flocked to the cinemas, even though people had no money. The amount of people going to cinemas increased dramatically, and musicals became one of the dominant forms of cinema. And what happened is it was a response to people's suffering. People were depressed, they were unhappy with their lives, and so for an hour, 2 hours, they could go into this place and they could escape their suffering. But then when they left, they were in exactly the same state. They hadn't worked anything through, you know. And so in one sense it was a response to their suffering, and it addressed their suffering, but it didn't help them work through their suffering. Now another analogy is that you can contrast this with a singer-songwriter. If you've just gone through a difficult breakup or you've lost somebody you love, you can go and you can hear a singer-songwriter and you listen to their music and you don't cry, but it's as if they're crying for you. Kierkegaard once said, "What is a poet?" He said, "A poet is someone who screams in agony, but whose lips are so formed that when they cry out, beautiful music is formed." So that when we say, "Sing to us again," what we're really saying is, "May new sufferings befall you." And what he was saying really was that, you know, a good musician, a good poet, is someone who weeps and who cries, like professional mourners at a funeral. They cry on your behalf. Now, what happens at the end is you walk out, and you might not have cried yourself, but you feel the cathartic release of the tears. You've worked through some of your emotions. You've kind of maybe even made decisions about what you're going to do. Now, for me, church often, and church worship, sadly, is more like a musical. You go in, you sing praise songs, "Jesus is my boyfriend," all of that stuff. You feel good for a couple of hours, you're all jazzed up, but then you leave and you go into the job that you hate, the relationship that's bad, the life that you despise. For me, I want to see worship that is more like the singer-songwriter, the poet that Kierkegaard talks about. Musicians who express emotional depth, help us work through our various issues and anxieties and fears, so that when we come out of the liturgical space, we actually have made progress emotionally and psychologically.